Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you too. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to Rural Community Solutions, where we help you design family-friendly, youth-centered places that attract the people you want to live in your community. My name is Kim Spillers.
And I'm Frank Spillers. So the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about how to create a startup community. Startup communities is the typical foundation that you will have to where entrepreneurial ecosystems can work and entrepreneurs can build what they want to build. So it's a great way to build an entrepreneurial economy in rural America. And so all in the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about what we have learned, our partnerships with E2 entrepreneurial ecosystems, the processes that we have used with communities that work. So stick around and we're going to transform your community. And so the elements that we have been using are from our typical institutes. We have what we want to call, I'm trying to get it up here, you know.
Live TV.
Just haven't, live, what we haven't done yet on there. But here, I want to show you, not that, this.
There we go. Sorry
our 5
about that.
institute design. So on Monday, we talked about our Community Prosperity Institute to get you ready. It finds out where you're at and where you want to go with the vision. And we help you create the environment that you're ready to look out 20 to 25 years every day, 20 to 25 years. So
Constantly.
It's always 20 to 25 years away, because that's what it's going to take to really transform your community. And the community is self-identified. You identify it. You can look at your commuting patterns, look at where your workforce comes from, look at where your retail sector comes from. That's all your community, because you want to keep those communities strong, all in your community, because that's where your economy.
Okay, there we go. We're back again.
How communities then can bring together the environment and to build relationships. This is all based upon our 4 pillars of community prosperity, and relationships is huge. But your leadership has to start building relationships. Today, we're going to be talking about our small community engagement institute. Community engagement. What do I mean by community engagement? I mean by the environment to where people are included in making decisions about your community.
So if that is interesting to you, here are some things that we have learned. Often in our experience, more than 30 years of experience, what has typically happened in rural America is that decision-making has been given or allowed to be allowed to take place by the people who are those paid people. The city council, well, they're volunteer, but anyway, so city council and your county commissioners or your county supervisors, your chamber of commerce, your economic development leaders, those are people whose job it is, to make sure that prosperity takes place. Well, what happens is that then a whole bunch of people get left out. People do get invited to meetings, but often the people who attend those meetings have an issue that it's really an agenda item that they really want to fix. It's not so much for the community good in some instances. So what we're suggesting, what we know that is the better approach, is that when people are included from all walks of life, then we make decisions better together, and the community is better off when people from a wide walk of life are included in the decisions.
So we're looking at some research. We study how people become who they want to become, how people become who they are, okay? So you look at some recent neurobiological research, and that suggests that when human beings make decisions, they don't look at the decision, they look at the trade-offs that decision is going to make. And so they have to weigh those trade-offs. Now, in a community, there are basically three types of issues that you will address. Some are technical, and those are, okay, do we build a new jail or not? So the technical is, are you overpopulated, and do you need to house more? Or is your jail falling apart, and do we need to update? There's also a underlying problem there too, is why are the jails full? So you might want to address that as you're looking at upgrading your facilities. Now, some are also difficult, but they're still straightforward with solutions and known consequences. Okay, so do we want to increase our police presence and enforcement? Now, some of those consequences, if we do that, what are the consequences? One, there's increased cost. Two, there could be increased taxes. Three, there could be a decrease in violence, or a decrease in crime in your community. So that's some of those types of straightforward issues that typically don't want or don't necessitate a dialogue. However, in your community, those issues that have been swept under the rug that you know are there but have not been fully addressed, or handled in such a different way that you thought they were technical, or you thought they were just straightforward issues, but really didn't take the public into account, didn't take the trade-offs into account, then those are what we call wicked issues. There's many ways to solve it. Emotions are high because of it, but it is critical to move forward on it because it's creating conflict. Now, those type of wicked issues need a specific type of deliberative dialogue in your community to where it engages people in a safe place that talks through the issue, not just about the issue. Because people have two types of opinions about it. One, there is their position. All right. So take a school merger, take a school closure in your community. That can cause
That's
a
a wicked
great
issue.
upheaval because people have a value of the school, specifically if they were born and raised in your community. They have an emotional attachment to that school. And schools are very, very important in your community because a lot of people think that once you close the school, that's the beginning of the end. And that's just their mindset that they have. And so losing that institution loses the institutional knowledge that the person has in that community. So what are you doing? Is the school board just deciding that they're going to do that and then putting the question on the ballot and saying you either vote for it or you vote against it and then it's a done deal? You're not taking into account the interests of the people. Why do they have an emotional attachment to that institution? Do they talk through that issue to get their whys out of why they're interested in that issue? That's how you handle those wicked issues, is you talk about not their positions, because that's the first indication, but you dig deeper into the values a person feels about their interest in that topic.
That's exactly why it's what we do in deliberative dialogue sets us apart for community engagement, is that the technique that we used and we've used with thousands and thousands of people across the country, it is about values. We look at our hearts. Why is it that people do feel so strongly about an issue? And how can we help other people understand why people dig in their heels about a certain issue? Because it has long-term meaning, or it has family history, or whatever the reason is. That's the value that we seek to find when we have our deliberative dialogues in communities, to help communities move forward on really important things. And that this technique is just super valuable because we find the values and we talk through them so that we can come to common ground and make a decision to move forward into a potential solution.
So the more that you sweep issues under the carpet, the greater the cost it is to solve those
Yes.
issues, and the greater the cost it is of your community. Have that coffee, have the coffee shop conversation about when they closed your school, and are people still mad about it? Have that coffee shop conversation about how you feel about your neighboring community because 50 years ago you played them in basketball or you played them in football, and you won or you lost or you thought the refs were paid off, and you're still harboring those feelings against the town. And so you say you're not going to work with those people because of they did such and such a long time ago. Or you think back, why are we doing certain things? And it could be 100 years of behavior, 100 years of culture passed on to generation after generation after generation. You don't know why you behave to do, you just do it.
Frank
right?
has a great story about that.
And so you'll have to contact me to get that story. Okay. And so community engagement is more than just gathering people in a town hall meeting or putting notices of meetings in the paper.
Or doing sticky notes on the walls about preferences.
Community engagement means talking through the values of people, talking through their interests of people. And it takes time. It takes a new habit, and it takes an environment to where people feel they can trust you. Because you might have built up a environment of distrust because they've talked to you, and then all of a sudden you go down to the coffee shop and you talk about their problem, or you talk about their statements, or a statement gets misconstrued in your newspaper or something like that. But you say, okay, I'm never going to say anything publicly again. And so your community really just kind of taps it down and squelches the creativity, squelches the environment of openness and trust. So leadership and engagement, when done correctly, build community trust. And that is the basis of where your community can start rebuilding back its resilience coming out of the COVID crisis. So if you're interested, you contact us, frank@ghorizons.com or kim@ghorizons.com. Let's have a conversation about how we can help your community with the conflict it might have.
We are here every day, Monday through Friday at 11:30 Central Daylight Time on YouTube or Facebook. Or if that doesn't work for you, you can catch our podcast, anchor.fm/Frank Spillers. Think like an entrepreneur, become a spark plug. So remember, all this week, we're walking through our 5 institutes. And so you can get a really great idea of how we would work with your community to help you move forward.
So on community engagement, it's a very thoughtful discussion to identify common ground that you can start building your community back. So we will see you tomorrow as we continue our conversation of how do you build the bridge between communities that really start to build back collaboration. Until then, we will see you tomorrow.
Have a great day. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.